Let's check out some of the top underrated physiques of the pre-steroid era. All of these lifters were in their prime before the 1930s, which means that steroids did not exist at the time, giving us some excellent examples of natural potential which can be achieved with basic old-school equipment and methods. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard of the likes of Sandow and Hackenschmidt. Certainly they deserve to be in the conversation of the best physiques of the Bronze Era, but instead we're going to be covering some more unknown lifters, with the goal of highlighting some old school greats you probably haven't heard of before. So let's get straight into number 5, Gustav Frištensky. The 0.5% of Czech viewers watching this video have likely already heard of him since he's somewhat of a national hero over there, but for everyone else, Frištensky was a Bronze Era strongman and wrestler with an amazingly long and successful career. We'll definitely be covering his life story in a dedicated video. What's nice about Frištensky is his above average height, with some sources saying 180 centimeters and others putting him as tall as 186 centimeters. A common critique I see about these Bronze Era physiques is that so many of the lifters were actually quite short and small, but that's not the case here. His weight was 94 to 100 kilos, and yet we can see he was still very lean in pretty much all of his photos. He had cannonball shoulders, which were perfectly proportioned with his arms, making for a very powerful looking physique. But when you see his back, his core, even his legs in some of these photos, it's hard to find any weaknesses. And I can just imagine how scary it must have been to get in the ring with him. Number 4. William Girardi, an American lifter from the 1920s who gets on this list for quite simply having the best developed quads of his generation. He had a wide back and decent arms as well, of course, but those legs were something else. At a height of 168 centimeters and a body weight of around 82 kilos, his thighs measured 26 inches, which is just an insane accomplishment for a lifter of his stature. For context, Steve Reeves in his prime also had 26-inch thighs, though he was significantly taller at 185 centimeters. Sadly, we have very little information about Girardi's training or his life. It seems he did not get much recognition during his time, but I agree with Golden Era Bookworm on this one because I think he deserves to be remembered as the original quad father. Number 3, Charles Ernest. This late 19th century German weightlifter has been totally lost to history, except for this one photo. We don't know his height or weight, but I still think his physique was clearly impressive enough to include here. What stands out to me are his lats. You can see even from the front, this guy had a massively wide set of wings, something which was very often lacking during his era. His physique was so well balanced from the arms and shoulders to the legs, and particularly the calves as well were just insane. This image is from 1895, so we're effectively still in the pre-Sandow era, where physical culture was barely on the map. Yet still, we find this example of a physique which looks so aesthetic, even from a modern lens. Number 2, Billy Ralph. Again, sadly, nothing is known about the life of this 1920s bodybuilder, but we do know he was a student of Max Seek and the Max Alding system. To learn more about his training, make sure to check out Golden Era Bookworm's video about Billy Ralph. We have 2 images of this guy. Here we can see him showing off what I think are the best biceps of the Bronze Era. These arms could no doubt even hang with the best of the Silver Era, in fact. His physique looks so modern and conditioned. I really think even 100 years later you could drop him on a natural bodybuilding stage and he wouldn't look out of place at all. This second photo is even crazier in a sense because you get to see him flexing his neck. Just look at it. I mean, is this a man or a horse? Such a cool physique from Billy Ralph and one of the best examples of raw, old school natural potential. And number 1, Bobby Pandur. This Polish lifter definitely deserves more recognition. I've already made a video covering everything I could find about his life, so go check that out if you haven't seen it already. Pandur had something extremely rare for a Bronze Era lifter, which is a large, fully developed chest. chest. We're talking proper watermelon pecs, which you can see particularly in this photo. His physique was impressive from every angle, with essentially no weaknesses. At 168 centimeters tall and a body weight of around 73 kilos, he was absolutely shredded and vascular. Despite the large chest, I wouldn't say his physique looks modern, but that's exactly why I put him at number 1. This is the best Bronze Era physique, because he has that quintessential look that makes his era so special, yet he managed to develop his muscles to a level which I just don't think anyone else achieved. Of course, Sandow likely had a bigger impact on the world of physical culture, but in terms of the actual physique, I think Bobby Pandour was on another level. Let me know which one of these physiques impressed you the most in the comments. I'll be dropping the best documentary I've ever put on this channel in a couple days. So if you enjoy old school bodybuilding, make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.